Welcome to my channel. My name's Samantha and I am here to do a tag, which is just the 50 questions you never been asked tag. I originally saw Gemma with Bookish Gems do this. I have her video pulled up and I will be referring that to that video as I answer these questions. So let's get started. What is your favorite candle scent? And I tend to love any of the holiday scents, especially fall scented things, but for like everyday type of scents, I tend to just like apple cinnamon scented stuff. With those are generally all year round, but they're mostly related to the fall scented stuff. But yeah, anything fall scented I love to death. Question number 2 is, which female celebrity do you wish was your sister? And I would probably say the singer Pink. I've been listening to her music since I was a kid, since the early 2000s, and I've always admired her and looked up to her of her like badass attitude that she has with life and how she doesn't care what anybody else thinks, and I strive to be like that myself, so I will have to say Pink for sure. Which male celebrity do you wish was your brother? And that one's a bit tougher. I'm trying to think. Probably Patrick Stump, the lead singer from Fall Out Boy. Because they're another band that I've been listening to for years, since junior high. They're my favorite band ever, and I will like always be a fan of theirs, so I would probably have to say Patrick. Next is, how old do you think you'll be when you will get married? And I am already married. We had gotten married when I was 18, and he is a couple years older than me. So he was 20 when we got married. So we've been married since 2012. So it is going on strong. So I am pretty happy with where I'm at. Question number 5 is, do you know someone who is a hoarder? I do know a couple of people who have like an extraordinary amount of stuff that they don't really need, and I would consider myself a like low-grade hoarder of books and craft supplies. So yeah, it kind of like is in my general group of people. Question number 6 is, can you do the splits? And absolutely not. I have never been able to do the splits, and I am not going to attempt to try to do the splits anytime soon. I am just not flexible anymore. I used to be able to do a back bend, and I can somewhat sort of do it, but ever since having a spinal fusion to correct scoliosis, I'm not as flexible as I used to be, more than like 10 years ago now. So yeah, splits are a no-go for me. 7 is, how old were you when you learned how to ride a bike? When I was growing up, I lived in a really hilly area, so there was really nowhere like proper place for me to ride a bike. I lived in the country, and it was too far to ride a bike into town, kind of thing. It wasn't until maybe I was like 10 or 11 when staying at a cousin's house and we were riding bikes that I taught myself how to ride a bike that way. And me and Jordan got bikes when we moved down here to Florida, and I think it was maybe a couple of years after moving here, and ever since then we haven't really, unfortunately, ridden our bikes. Hopefully within the warmer months we'll probably get back into that. But yeah, I would say the earliest time I learned how to ride a bike was maybe about 10 or 11. 8 is, how many oceans have you swum in? None, honestly. I swam in the Gulf of Mexico, and the Tennessee River. That's about it. No oceans for me. Number 9 is how many countries have you visited? And only the country that I live in. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to travel abroad. Hopefully in the future we would like to go and visit Japan, because Jordan is really into that kind of culture, and maybe hopefully Australia in the future as well, to go to the Australian Zoo. We don't know when that's going to happen, hopefully in the near future, but we're just not sure at this point. And is anyone in your family in the Army? I don't know about the Army specifically, but I did have a few family members in just the military in general. I believe my grandfather on my mom's father was in the Army, I know he was in the Army at one point. I have a cousin that is in the Navy, and my cousin's husband was in the Air Force. I can't remember if I have anyone currently that's active. I think I'm just the one cousin in the Navy that's active, but other than that, yeah, those are the only people that come to mind that were in the military. No. Is what would you name your daughter if you had one? And Jordan and I already would have been kind of like set on this name before we even had gotten married, but we both love the name Haley, so it'd be Haley Evelyn. For our girl, Haley is the middle name of one of my favorite uncles who had passed away a couple of years ago due to cancer. So we would spell it Haley as the family spelling, and then Evelyn is my maternal grandmother's name that passed away when I was a year old. So that would be our girl name. Your son, if you had one, and we would name him Stephen Irvin. Stephen being for Steve Irwin, because he is a hero of Jordan, so we would name him Stephen after him. And then Irvin is my maternal grandfather's name, who had passed away in 2014, 13 or 14 now. I was super close with him growing up, and he's my hero as well, so I definitely want to remember him or honor him by having that as the middle name for our son, if we ever have any kids. We've gotten on a test, and I probably 50 something, which is like an F in American standardized testing, and it was most likely in math, because me and math don't mixed. So, but yeah, I've been out of school for over 10 years now, so who knows. The name of, what was your favorite TV show as a kid? First one that comes to mind is the Powerpuff Girls. I was obsessed with the Powerpuff Girls. I know as a little kid, 4 years old, it was Blue's Clues. It was Steve, the guy, have the original guy. Then it was Powerpuff Girls and Rugrats, and the cartoons on Nickelodeon in the early 2000s. And then as I got older, I was watching a lot of Sister, and a lot of the Disney Channel shows, but the specific one that I loved watching for sure is Powerpuff Girls. What did you dress up for on a Halloween as a kid when you were 8? I have no idea. I don't remember. I know there was one year that I dressed up as Buttercup from Powerpuff Girls, which probably now, I think about it, the green hair kind of holds true, because Buttercup was my favorite and she was the green one. So, but I remember being that for one Halloween, and then I was a color guard flag tosser for one Halloween, because my sister had bought me a miniature guard flag from one band competition when I was younger, and I remember being a color guard for one Halloween. Harry Potter, Hunger Games, and Twilight. Yes, completed the first 2 and got halfway through through Twilight and decided to stop torturing myself with that and DNF the rest of that series. Or a British accent, and honestly I'm not too sure. I'm okay with the accent that I have currently, so I'll guess I'll stick with American. I just don't really pay attention too much to accents, honestly, so I don't really have a preference. Question 19, are your grandparents still married? If both my grandmothers had was still living when I was growing up, because my dad's mother passed away when I was 6 months old, and that my grandfather had married twice since then, after being widowed a couple of times. But I know for a fact that my my maternal grandparents would be together. My grandpa didn't marry after my grandma had passed away, so I would definitely say that they would still be together. 20, have you ever taken karate lessons? No, I wish I did. I wish I took a lot of lessons when I was a kid. The only thing I remember being available that I did take like some ballet and tap lessons, like briefly when I was like 4 or 5. That didn't last very long. But no, the only thing I kept with is just band. So no karate for me. Question 21, do you know who Kermit the Frog is? Of course, I am a child of the 90s when he was like, when I was growing up, I was really exposed to the Muppets and like Sesame Street and stuff like that. So I grew up with that stuff. So yeah, I know who Kermit the Frog is. Question number 22, what was the first amusement park you ever visited? Technically, if you want to count county like fairs, the town I grew up in had a county fair every year, and that was really the first kind of like amusement park style rides that I was introduced to. But an actual amusement park would be Disney World when I was in 8th grade. So I was like 14 or 15 when I went to Disney for the first time, without my like family too. That was just going as like a band trip. But yeah, it would be Disney would be my first official amusement park. Honestly, I would like to be more fluent in Spanish, because I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I know enough to like slowly get through. I know the basics, but I want to be more conversational in my Spanish. But I would love to be fluent in like Chinese or Japanese as well, especially if you would like to go visit like Japan in the future. I would like to be able to like conversely like speak with the people there, so I know where the heck I'm going and what other people are saying.
Japanese, watch the anime
with an E, and I think I spell it with an A. Honestly, I don't really think about it too much because I'm not the greatest when it comes to spelling, just to begin with, so it just really all depends on the time of day, I guess.
Gray with an E. Gray with a...
Not, but he is thinning, so I'm keeping an eye out on that because it's hereditary for hair loss, and I already have enough hair loss for the whole family combined, so need to keep an eye on that. 26, do you know triplets? I do not. I know a few pairs of twins though, but I do not know any triplets, at least not that I'm aware of.
I don't.
27, do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? I've never seen The Notebook. I don't honestly really plan on seeing it anytime soon. I just have to be in the mood for it. Titanic all the way. I've seen Titanic so many times. I've probably seen it like younger than I probably should have as a child. But I definitely would choose Titanic anytime. I had Indian food, and yes, I've been kind of on a kick when it comes to like Indian food like the last couple of weeks. A couple of weeks ago we had curry, and I've been wanting nothing but curry and butter chicken ever since. Those things are so good, and now I want some now. So thanks a lot this video.
Yes, I love food. Question 20.
Question 29, what is the name of your favorite restaurant? I don't really have a favorite restaurant, to be honest. So if we're going with the restaurant that I frequently go to, right now will probably be Dunkin', because I go to Dunkin' at least once a week to get coffee and stuff in the mornings after my allergy shots. But as in like an official, like this is my favorite restaurant, I don't really have one at the moment. Have you ever been to Nando's? I have no idea what Nando's is, so I'm assuming that is a UK thing. So no, I have not. 31, do you belong to any warehouse stores, or I'm assuming like any like department stores, like memberships? Not like credit cards or memberships, but I do have an Ulta membership that I don't pay into, and I barely go to Ulta and forget half the time that I have an Ulta card. Just like where I can earn points and stuff. But well, now that I think about it, I would count that as one. And then there's a grocery chain here in Florida called Winn-Dixie that has a points program that I have my phone number attached to. And a couple of the metaphysical stores have like one of those punch cards and discount cards for that. So I guess those will count, kind of.
No, 32.
Next question is, what would your parents have named you if you were the opposite gender? I believe I would have been Tyler. I know my mom had started a baby book whenever, right before I was born. So I believe, if I'm remembering correctly because it's been years since I last looked at it, but I think maybe Tyler? I'm not sure. Nickname, I go by Sam most of the time, just because it's a shortened version of my first name, and before I got married it was actually my initials as well, and I go by Sammy, but mostly my family calls me Sammy because to me it's more of a kid-like nickname and I don't really care for it too much, but I tolerate it because it's a family nickname. Or who is your favorite person in the world? That's kind of a hard one. I obviously would have to say Jordan, my husband, but then it would be my mom, my sister, and my dad. Me and my mom are super close, so I would say if I had to pick someone else other than Jordan, it would probably be my mom. But mostly my immediate family and like my best friend Megan, they're some of my favorite people. And my god kids, I have 3 goddaughters and a godson, so they're some of my favorites as well. Or the city. When I was younger, I really wanted to live in the city. For a while, I was planning on moving to Chicago to study music composition when I was younger, but then when I met Jordan, things had changed and our plans had changed, so now we're living out in the country, and the older I get, the more I'd rather be out in the country because the more I don't like people. So country living it is for me. Because I don't want to blow out your eardrums, but yes, I can whistle.
Yes, sure. No, but
Right. No. There's a light outside one of our bedroom windows though. Even though we have blackout curtains, the cats have made it into a Starry Night kind of print of blackout curtains, so pinpricks of light still gets in. But no, we don't have a night light. I have one of those wallflower plugins from like Bath and Body Works that has a light on it, but we don't keep that plugged in. So we don't usually have a night light going on at night. Hey, do you eat breakfast every morning? I do not. I mean, I try to be like better about it, but half the time whenever I do have breakfast, it's a later breakfast until I get here at the office. But yeah, I don't have breakfast all the time. Most of the time I just have a cup of coffee and then I'm fine for a while. 39, do you take any daily pills or medication? And yes, I take a lot of vitamins and I do have some medications because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome or PCOS. So I have medicines for that to help keep my like testosterone levels down and keep myself from becoming diabetic because I am insulin resistant with PCOS. And I have the markers for rheumatoid arthritis, so I'm trying to like manage my inflammation and energy levels with that. And I have anxiety and depression, so there are the antidepressants for that, and just like vitamin D and all that stuff. That reminds me, she was talking about antihistamines. I'm allergic to pretty much half the world at this point, so I take allergy pills every day along with allergy shots. So there's that. Well, I just explained it to you guys. I have a list of things. I am just slowly falling apart. 41, how many times have you been to the hospital? For a major surgery, once. But all the other surgeries that I've had have been done in like a surgical center, not necessarily a hospital. Well, I've been to the ER here like once because I had slipped and like fell on a front step and thought I may have jostled the hardware in my back. So we went to the ER because I was having really bad like shoulder blade pain to get an x-ray just to make sure everything with my back was fine. But other than that, like for anything major, it was just a pre-planned surgery for my back. 42, have you ever seen Finding Nemo? Duh. If anyone hasn't seen Finding Nemo yet, you need to correct that right now. Honestly, I haven't bought jeans in a while. Be really anywhere that will be relatively cheap to get, because I am really picky when it comes to, I rather not spend more than like 20 bucks on a pair of clothing, so I am really cheap when it comes to my clothes. It's actually from Jordan's mom yesterday when she was talking about how she is super proud of all the things that I've had gotten done and am doing currently with this channel, so I would have to say her. Sandy's usually my cheerleader in the morning. Sometimes I do. Lately they have been more, my dreams have been more active and a lot weirder that I have been able to remember the majority of, well, I wouldn't say majority, a good chunk of them. So it just really depends on how I sleep during the night, if I can actually remember them. 46, what flavor tea do you enjoy? I tend to drink a lot of black tea majority of the time, and occasionally just plain green tea, but my current like flavor that I've been obsessed with is a blend from one of my local metaphysical stores, which is an Earl Grey with lavender, and I had just used, I think I have like a tiny bit left of it, and that I've been trying to wait for them to like get in stock again, because I love the heck out of that tea, and yeah, it's really tasty.
And I don't.
Shoes do you currently own? I tend to rotate between like 2, and then whenever it's cooler, my pair of boots. So let me see. I have like 11 or 12 pairs of shoes, not including like house slippers that I was gifted. But I would usually go between like my plain black ballet flats and just like my slip-on like clog type of shoes, because I am lazy and don't want to fiddle with zipping stuff up. 48, what religion would you raise your children to practice? Honestly, I will let them decide what religion that they want to follow. I grew up going to church for the first like maybe 5 or 6 years. I went to a Nazarene church. My uncle of my, on my dad's side of the family is a pastor at a Baptist church, I believe. And then for like the last few years up until like 2012, before we moved, we went to a Presbyterian church, and the pastor that married me in Jordan is a Presbyterian church. As of the last couple of years, the more that I've gotten into like practicing witchcraft and stuff, I just don't see myself aligning with a Christian faith at the moment. I still have a lot of those like traditional beliefs kind of ingrained in me, but as of right now, I would say I know there's a higher being out there, many higher beings out there, and I'm just trying to live one with the earth at the moment. And so I won't push my like kids to go with one religion or another. If they want to learn more about that religion, they can have at it. I find the concepts of religion and the history behind religions can be really interesting. It's just the people who are pushing the religions and making it an end all be all that is the issue for me.
None. Agnostic, that you.
How old were you when you found out Santa wasn't real? Technically, for me, Santa is still real because my uncle does a lot of Santa work, so he's still very real in my eyes. But as the whole like concept of Santa, I think I was like 10 or 11 on it. I'm not entirely too sure, but yeah, Santa is still real in some parts. Question is, why do you have a channel? Originally I started it as talking about like crafts and stuff, and I wanted to just be a part of the community, like the knitting and crafting community, and talk about crafts. And then over time it evolved to me talking more about books than crafts. And I'm just happy about like building this little community that I have on this channel and making the friends that I have made. And yeah, and that is the end of the questions, all 50 questions. This is going to be a doozy to edit later, but I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you enjoyed this video, leave me a like on this video and subscribe to keep up to date with any of the new content that I come out in the future. And until next time, you guys.